As the founder and CEO of Damac Properties, Hussain Sajwani helped orchestrate one of the world's biggest ever real estate booms. And in 2008, after the crash, he had to do it all again. You're watching Inside AB. I'm Eddie Taylor, and I'm joined by Jeremy Lawrence, and we're going to talk about exactly how he did it. So you interviewed Hussain Sajwani last week, and you got the full details of his remarkable career. How did it all begin?
Yeah, it's a classic old school Emirati tale. Father had a shop in Deira, took the son to the shop every day after school, where Hussain says he learnt about the basics of supply and demand, about knowing what your customer is. So that gave him a real fire in his belly. He was one of the first UAE students to go and study abroad in the States. Came back within 2 years, had launched his own catering company, which became one of the biggest in the region. So did a lot before he ever got into property.
Yeah, so how did that, what was that switch into property? When did that come in?
Well, there were other companies that followed, but property came in 1996 when he did the first of 5 hotels in Deira that he built, leased and sold. Then in 2002, of course, you had the freehold law for foreigners that was passed, and that same year he founded Damac Properties.
But he's sort of doing this from a standing start in a way, so where was the money coming from?
Well, this was like one of the most interesting parts of the interview because we talked at length about this. They're so high profile that a couple of times people have said, how did he manage to do this? And he said it was quite simple, as well as these other businesses that were doing well. And he said he'd done so well at the stock market that he made far more money in the stock market, the regional stock market, than he was doing in his property. So he had that. But of course, at that time, you could buy the land quite cheaply, pay for it in 4-year stages, he said. You could sell the project and then use that money to fund the construction. So that, along with the profits from his other businesses, meant he was able to scale very quickly. So
he was basically collecting the money as it was going on, and then moving on to the next one. There's a snowballing effect.
Yeah, and he said he never borrowed any money from anyone until the IPO in 2013.
Right, but again, we have to talk about 2008, the big financial crash. We all know the stories about the project stopping, and Damac were particularly badly exposed, weren't they?
They were. I mean, they were the biggest private developer, so the bigger you are, the harder they fall. And I think, so everybody knows about Damac's problems that they had then. But he said, it didn't take them long to sort it all out, really. They consolidated projects, they moved people from ones that they cancelled into ones that were continuing. And what saved him was that they had 1 billion dirhams that they put in escrow. He said they were one of the first to sign up for the escrow plan, so he had this money to be able to focus on the projects that they carried on with.
Yeah, one of the interesting things he said, he also made him realise what were the assets to hang on to, didn't he?
Yeah, so they cancelled the ones in Jebel Ali, and they carried on. They made sure they carried on in DIFC. They made sure they carried on in the marina.
And now we have to talk about the comeback, of course. I mean, all of that stuff, they're able to emerge from the crisis, and they were able to emerge stronger than ever. And so what are the plans now? They've still got lots of units under construction. 40,000
units, I believe, in Dubai are either planned or under construction. Yeah, huge master plans, master communities, Damac Hills and Akoya Oxygen. The IPO helped that greatly in 2013, gave them funds. They do go to the market now to borrow. When you're doing projects that big, of course, you need to. So they've got some very, very big projects on the go now.
And they don't seem to be too worried about oversupply, it looks like, with all of the units that they're...
No, I asked him about this because, you do wonder about that when I drove out to do the interview there, and you see all the projects that are coming online out in that part of town. But he said it's very simple. He said you've got 500,000 freehold units roughly in the city. The city's growing at 4 or 5% a year. That means you need about 20,000 units, additional units every year to meet that demand. And he said, as a city, we're only building between 10 and 12,000. So he thinks there's still plenty of room for growth if you do it right.
Talking of room for growth, he's not just sticking to the UAE, is he? He's got ambitions and plans to continue looking overseas, hasn't he?
Yeah, they've been overseas for quite a long time now. But his vision, his overall vision, is that he wants gateway towers in the major cities across the world. So he's already building one in London, and he wants to continue that, he said, in 6 gateway cities across the world.
Right. So it looks like the Damac story has a few chapters still left to open. Thank you very much for watching Inside AB. Don't forget to subscribe and join us every weekday morning at 10 a.m. for more. Thanks for watching.